So, we found out the episode where Leo talked to Bulbasaur, huh? Well then, I have some words about this one.
Bring it on!
Alright, small disclaimer, this is an episode of Pokemon that divides opinion. And when I say it divides opinion, I mean it divides my opinion and yours. Because I'm pretty sure this is the episode that makes so many people go,
"Oh my god, I love Ash's Bulbasaur, what a great character it is!"
And for me, it's an episode that makes me think, God, I really can't stand this Mardy bastard. And don't get me wrong, I do love the Pokemon anime. I know with the way this series works, I don't always show it, but I do genuinely love the Pokemon anime. It's just episodes like this really get my goat a bit. So let's have a look and see if you guys can finally discover what I discovered years ago, and that's that Ash's Bulbasaur just isn't that likable.
We're in for some shit today, aren't we?
We start the episode with Ash battling a trainer who has a Rhyhorn, and Ash sends out his Bulbasaur to fight it. That's right, Ash Ketchum, our usually incompetent hero, sends out a Pokemon whose moves are 4 times effective against his opponent, and as his first action of the episode, no less. Ash Ketchum did something smart at the beginning of the episode. Say it with me. Ash Ketchum did something smart at the beginning of the episode. What in the ever-loving
See there? Even though Ash did something smart with a type advantage, Liam had to finish off with,
What in the ever-loving
this shows how much bias he has towards Bulbasaur for no reason, even though he did something right.
It was a bit weird that Brock is terrified of Rhyhorn, a rock-type Pokemon, but I guess we'll let it slide.
He says that Rhyhorn's takedown is like being hit by a tank. Been hit by many tanks, have you, bro?
No, you are not taking metaphor seriously with this one. Like, what are you, Simpsons or something?
Ash's Bulbasaur gets absolutely battered by Rhyhorn's takedown. You know, stuff like this wouldn't keep happening if you actually rotated your team a little bit more. Ash, you're so reliant on Pikachu, you're letting the rest of the team slip. Also, why would you start with Leech Seed against a Rhyhorn? It's a ground and rock type, mate. Any grass type damaging move melts it. Just bang out Razor Leaf and it'll be over before it's even started.
First of all, Ash does rotate his team. It's just that Bulbasaur being overshadowed by Charmander wins after Bulbasaur loses. So what you meant to say is, Ash should have trained his Pokemon so that doesn't happen again. Second, why Bulbasaur use Leech Seed? To regain his HP back through Leech Seed, dumbass. Seriously, is that a stupid thing to ask? I could understand if it's a terrible cover move like Leech Light does prior to Gen 6. But Leech Seed isn't. It's a stasis move where you can regain your HP back, and it's broken if you use Toxic on your opponent, which Bulbasaur line does learn. The real TF of it is, why Ash's Bulbasaur doesn't learn Toxic yet?
Direct quote from Misty.
That Rhyhorn must be at a high level!
Yes, that is for everyone who gives me shit about using game logic against the anime. Levels are canon, mate. So you know what? Let me know in the comments what level you think Ash's Pikachu is. Ash tells Bulbasaur to return, but Bulbasaur refuses and dodges the Pokeball tractor beam thing. Brock reckons this is because Bulbasaur is determined not to give up the battle until it wins. Now I know you guys might be thinking,
Oh my god, that's so heroic! Bulbasaur's such a great Pokemon!
but mate, he's a terrible Pokemon. He just disobeyed a direct order from his trainer who was only issuing that order for Bulbasaur's own well-being. That wouldn't stand in the military, and it shouldn't here either. I'm just saying, we can't be having a go at Charizard 1 minute for disobeying Ash and then the next minute give this Mardy little cabbage a pass. Also, what Brock said didn't really make sense. He said Bulbasaur wouldn't give up the battle until it wins. But if Bulbasaur won, it wouldn't need to give up the battle because it would be over.
Okay, 2 things. First, Bulbasaur disobeyed Ash's command due to him trying to show that he had advantage in battle, while Charizard disobeyed Ash by sitting on his ass or go harming Pokemon that Ash didn't command him to do. Second, what the heck you mean by, but if Bulbasaur won, it won't need to give up the battle because it will be over. Seriously, what the heck are you talking about? Now I know how Ron felt when Metal Blade Fight talked about Mid-Citrus design.
The battle lasts won't even listen to him. Mate, this is why Ash's Bulbasaur's such an arsehole. He's like his own trainer, like a right mug. Bulbasaur's like that one friend who starts making loads of jokes at your expense when you meet a bunch of new people. You know, they try so hard to impress the new people by making you look like a tit. Bulbasaur's toxic. Pass it on. Hey, that was actually pretty funny. You know what, mate? You're alright. Nah, he's still...
Crikey! Ash actually told Bulbasaur to use Razor Leaf, and as we expected, it taught Rhyhorn a new one. It also followed up with Vine Whip without actually being told to do so, so that's twice now Bulbasaur has disobeyed its trainer. Not that I'm keeping count. Direct quote from the guy who moments ago called Ash a lousy trainer.
You really chopped me down to size. Your Bulbasaur is great.
You smell that? Smells like humble pie.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
See what I mean? Liam just saw Rhyhorn's trainer give Ash respect for Bulbasaur defeat his Rhyhorn, and yet Liam doesn't even take back what he said in episode 43.
Direct quote from Brock.
Bulbasaur can never settle for being second best, can it, Ash?
This right here absolutely confirms everything I was saying in the Snow Way Out episode. Bulbasaur hates that Pikachu is Ash's #1 Pokemon and will try and take that spot by any means necessary.
My brother in crime. No, he didn't.
Holy great star, this is getting ridiculous. First off, that's the fault of the ice for making the grip slippery, not Bulbasaur. Second, that's the rock that Pikachu and Charizard gain more wins than Bulbasaur lose, and Bulbasaur wants to change that.
Misty says all of Ash's Pokemon are really stubborn, just like Ash. Mate, what did Pidgeotto ever do? All it ever does is follow orders and help out when called upon. Mate, justice for Pidgeotto. Talk about hanging around with the wrong crowd.
What did you say about Charizard before? Misty was referring to how Charizard is more stubborn than he was after evolving from Charmander. Also, why don't you mention Pidgeotto when Squirtle also follow orders and help out when called about, huh?
Hey there.
Bulbasaur collapses and Ash asks if something's the matter or if Bulbasaur's feeling sick. Mate, it's just been in a fight. Do you think people turn to Conor McGregor after a fight and go, "Oh, are you feeling okay, Conor? Bit sore?" Is Conor McGregor still a fighter? Is that still a thing? Like, I don't actually know. I think I'm showing my age here.
First off, like if we're concerned about someone's condition. Second, the time your video came out, yes, he still is. Second, Liam make a pop culture reference.
Bulbasaur's bone starts growing, and you know what that means? Or not, as we'll find out later. Oh yeah, spoiler alert.
Ash takes Bulbasaur to the Pokemon Center for help, and after looking at it, Nurse Joy says,
I wonder if this Bulbasaur is...
and then just doesn't finish her sentence, leaving Ash to expect the worst. Sometimes, Joy, it's better just not to say anything.
I would agree, even coming from you. I'm sorry, but are you the same guy who did this?
Also, what Brock said didn't really make sense. He said Bulbasaur wouldn't give up the battle until it wins. But if Bulbasaur won, it wouldn't need to give up the battle because it would be over.
Seriously, this is ironic coming from you, who do the same thing.
As Bulbasaur is taken past some flowers in the Pokemon Center, they start to bloom. Now, if this was a horror film or any kind of negative thing, they'd have wilted, so we kind of know everything's gonna be okay. Unless anyone has hay fever, in which case, mate, me too, and I feel your pain.
I have no idea what you just said.
Direct quote from Nurse Joy.
It's happening. Now I'm positive.
What's happening? What are you positive about? Tell us what you mean. You're talking in riddles, girl.
Again, you are the last person to ask that question. At least Nurse Joy revealed what's going on, compared to yours.
Joy tells Ash that Bulbasaur isn't sick. In fact, it's getting ready to evolve. That was your hunch? That's the hypothesis you were being so secretive about? Mate, you could see Ash getting stressed and worried. You could have at least said, "Don't worry, mate. I'm pretty sure this is what happens when Bulbasaur's about to evolve." Nurse Joy's a cockend.
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up!
Brock says Ash shouldn't be surprised because the guy they fought earlier said Bulbasaur was strong and that Ash did a great job training it. Yeah, but the guy did also say Ash was a lousy trainer, so I guess he was giving off mixed signals there.
Okay, that's absolutely strawman there. Because the Rhyhorn trainer said that Ash is lousy because Bulbasaur refused to listen to him. What's your heart about you?
The bloke they're battling laughs at Ash and says he must be a lousy trainer because his Pokemon won't even listen to him. The bloke they're battling laughs at Ash and says he must be a lousy trainer because his Pokemon won't even listen to him.
The bloke they're battling laughs at Ash and says he must be a lousy trainer because his Pokemon won't even listen to him.
So can you not strawman someone's wording? Because the way you say that, it sounds like you didn't watch the episode.
Ash inquires about when Bulbasaur will evolve, and Joy explains that every year Bulbasaur gather from all over the world for a festival of evolution. Now look, in Pokemon there are a number of annoying evolution conditions. Trade holding a certain item, max happiness during the day, turn the console upside down, take at least 49 hit points of damage and then walk under the stone bridge in the Dusty Bowl. But bring your Bulbasaur to a very specific location at a very specific time of year known only to Bulbasaur? That's bollocks, mate.
Liam, do you really think that's worse than Galarian Yamask's evolution?
Yes, because Joy said herself this evolution event takes place at a different time every year. So there's no way of knowing when the right time is. It's total RNG.
While I agree that some evolution methods are annoying, including Yamask, says how the heck you supposed to know that? But there's an evolution method that you barely mentioned about.
Seriously? Bug pond named Waluigi? Seriously?
Bulbasaur and Pikachu have a conversation, but it's in their own species-specific language, so we can't understand it. You gotta love filler.
Oh, really?
Oh really? So Pokemon speak in their own language? That's filler? Because that's ironic coming from the guy who put G Fuel sponsorship in the middle of the video.
Direct quote from Bulbasaur.
Bulba! Bulbasaur! Bulbasaur!
Okay, now I can understand why I never liked Ash's Bulbasaur as a kid. The thing's piss irritating.
Wait, that's the reason why you don't like Bulbasaur? Because his scream is irritating?
Direct quote from a sleep-talking Ash Ketchum.
That makes 1,000 badges!
Why would Ash dream about getting 1,000 badges? He only needs 8 to get to the Pokemon League. Unless he really does think it'll take him 125 tries before he actually wins the thing. Mate, you've got to have more confidence in yourself.
You say that like we don't think that Ash dreams, as in something in Ash's head, of obtaining 1,000 badge can reflect the real world. For instance, in one of the SpongeBob episodes, SpongeBob is dreaming of owning his own driver's license, despite the fact he mentioned he doesn't have one and he's happy about it, until Mrs. Puff gives him a nightmare by destroying his license in front of him. So in other words, don't take someone's dreams seriously. That includes those who use the black hole from Sonic Shuffles as Sonic Speed Factor.
Pokemon Theory. Ash's Pikachu is actually a Ditto who stayed in the form of a Pikachu too long and got stuck, but can still transform into other things, much like Tobias from Animorphs. Oh, would you look what day it is? It's Dated Reference Day.
First of all, Pikachu can learn Mimic, meaning Ditto Theory doesn't work here. Second, calling Animorphs dated reference while chuckling. That was these many sense.
Meanwhile, Team Rocket's James is suffering due to all the pollen in the air, and God, that's a mood. I told you James was my spirit animal. I'm dreading how much pollen 2021's gonna bring us. It's not really good, is it? As Team Rocket are walking along, the group of Bulbasaur that kidnapped Ash's Bulbasaur walk past and stop dead in their tracks when they notice Team Rocket. It's almost like they've been caught doing something they shouldn't. Poor Team Rocket, though. Imagine walking through the forest, minding your own business, and you stumble across
Bulbasaur BDSM. You'd want to clean your eyes out with bleach, wouldn't you? Disclaimer, don't ever clean your eyes out with bleach. I shouldn't have to say it, but I bet at least one of you out there is stupid enough to try.
First off,
Holy moly!
second, who the heck could take clean your eyes with bleach, literally? Asmongold?
Team Rocket take it in turns to make Bulbasaur-based alliterations, but James describes the scene as a Bulbasaur blowout, which really doesn't make the situation feel any less weird.
Says a guy who mentioned BDSM. that no one wants to hear.
Team Rocket suffer from premature blast-off. Must be rough. Team Rocket land with enough force to make a crater in the ground right on the spot where Ash and Co were stood just moments earlier. Talk about cheating death. Imagine if they'd been a second later leaving the area and just got splattered by Team Rocket and then the credits just rolled. But then they'd have to make that Bulbasaur and Pikachu conversation from earlier even longer to fill up the time.
Great, and now the whole forest is alive and trying to stop the humans from getting to the Bulbasaur. What kind of Scooby-Doo bollocks is this? What, is this meant to be Gen 1 Trevenant in action? This is meant to be Pokemon, not Final Fantasy 9.
Why do you pretend Frenzy Pipe doesn't exist? Which is a move that existed prior to Travelanche?
Wow, this scene is just like the one from Clefairy and the Moonstone and from Pikachu's Goodbye. If anyone had mass gathering of the same basic Pokemon all singing their names in some kind of ceremony on their Pokemon anime bingo, you can cross it off now.
W.T.F moment this scene.
So the glittery pollen in the air and all the singing Bulbasaur apparently make this seemingly dead, withered old tree instantly sprout blossoms. Why are the humans not trying to harness this power? If this is what Bulbasaur are capable of, we could end world hunger with that.
Oh gee, I wonder why.
Direct quote from Ash after all the Bulbasaur, except his own, evolve into Ivysaur.
This must be their evolution festival.
Ash, where have you been? How are you just realizing this?
This story just mentioned that Bulbasaur gather in the mysterious garden when they're going evolving. But she also says, but since no human has ever seen the garden clearly, most people think it's nothing but illusion. That is why Ash said that! Because he and his friends are the first humans to see the mysterious garden, you moron!
Brock starts musing about how people have long disagreed about whether Bulbasaur is an animal-type Pokemon or a plant-type Pokemon. Now, I could be pedantic and say there's no such thing as an animal-type Pokemon or a plant-type Pokemon, but instead I'll be pedantic and say that everyone, especially the people who program the Pokedex, believe that Bulbasaur is a grass and poison-type Pokemon, and therefore there is no debate about what Bulbasaur is or isn't, and therefore Brock is talking bollocks.
Yeah, that is absolute nonsense to mention two things that are not Pokemon types. Like, what the heck is that?
Ash notices that his Bulbasaur is struggling, and Brock says it looks like it's trying not to evolve. What's wrong with you, Bulbasaur? You're so eager to become Ash's best Pokemon, just evolve into Ivysaur. Ivysaur's awesome! Have you played Smash Bros? Don't stay a Bulbasaur, you knobhead, or you'll never be number one. Although technically, you will still be number one in the Pokedex.
Oh, really? Smash Bros is where Ivysaur is awesome. Really? Because Ivysaur got major wrecked in Super Smash Bros. Brawl thanks to the balance mechanic, and he as well Squirrel are absent in 2014 Smash Bros. To remove the swapping mechanic. Despite the fact Soda and Sheik also got their removed, but still playable. While Ultimate did bring him and Squirrel back as a playable swappable character again, without that balance mechanic, Ivysaur got rough time in the first bite and got booted out in 2014 game. It would make sense if you say Venusaur got better thanks to its megaphone he eventually got.
Ash tells Venusaur he's sorry if Bulbasaur's not evolving ruined their festival. And he gives this heartfelt speech about how Bulbasaur should have the right to choose whether to evolve or not. And Venusaur just looks at him, shoots a bunch of pollen into the air, and adds more blossom to the tree, as if to say,
Yeah, but dickhead, look at the cool shit he could do.
I'm with Venusaur here. It just wants Bulbasaur to achieve its full potential, and Ash's Bulbasaur has only ever wanted to be the best, so what's the issue?
See? This is a stage you should mention that got best form instead of the stage that gets wrecked in the spin-off game. Balance mechanic, what the frick was that, Sakurai? What the frick?
Misty points out that the Venusaur can manipulate nature, and that if Bulbasaur would evolve, it could do that too, and Bulbasaur just turns away with a face like a slapped arse. Mate, what is your actual problem? Whenever we see you, you're always wanting to be the best and be the strongest and all that bollocks. And when you finally get a chance to take a step towards that, you dig your heels in and throw a strop. This entire thing is why I can't stand Ash as Bulbasaur.
Maybe because his evolution is felt forced by Venusaur and doesn't feel right to do it after seeing what happened to Charmeleon when he evolved? Just a hunch.
Team Rocket begin reciting their motto, but Meowth tells them to stop wasting time. Jessie says they need the motto, and James says their fans have come to expect it. That's completely understandable. You've got to give the fans what they want. Take my fans, for example. They expect me to remind them that they can save money on G.
See? That's hypocrisy, everyone.
Team Rocket turn on a vacuum in the bottom of their hot air balloon that starts sucking up all the Ivysaur, yet Ash as Bulbasaur, who weighs about half that of an Ivysaur, is able to remain on the ground without being sucked up. How does that work? Who knew Venusaur had 12 vines? See, Bulbasaur? Evolution really is worth it. Also, I love how Venusaur tries to hold 12 of the Ivysaur back rather than tackling the source of the problem, aka the giant vacuum in the sky. I smell favoritism here.
Wow, where do I begin with this? First off, Bulbasaur and other grass-type users only use 2 vines to their battlefield. Well, either that's Venusaur's limit of vines whip, or saving as many as he can. And second, favoritism? That's ironic.
I've now watched this scene about 15 times back to back, and I still can't work out what's meant to have happened here. Ash has told Bulbasaur to use Razor Leaf to try and take down the balloon, but the leaves seem to be bouncing off the stream of air. But that stream of air is being sucked into the vacuum, so the leaves wouldn't bounce off, they'd be sucked in, right? Like, either way, the Razor Leaf would be completely useless, but I just don't get why the leaves bounce off as if the vacuum was a leaf blower.
I'm not buying it.
Direct quote from James. All that's left is a puny little Bulbasaur. Mate, the last shot we saw was Venusaur, still stood on that tree stump that we saw it on before you turned up. It's massive. How did you miss it? Also, does that mean Venusaur let go of the 12 Ivysaur it was holding? Surely it must have, otherwise Team Rocket wouldn't think their work's done. Venusaur, mate, you had one job.
Seriously, Liam is on a roll with this.
After Venusaur shows gratitude to Bulbasaur for saving them, Ash and Co leave the mysterious forest, which disappears whilst they're standing there. Why do they never make a bigger deal when literal magic happens in the Pokemon world? Like entire gardens that appear and disappear in an instant? That's something to get excited about. So at the end of the episode, the narrator says that nobody knows if and when Bulbasaur will evolve except Bulbasaur. But we still haven't had an explanation of why it doesn't want to evolve. Like, I know I'm going on about this, but this is a Pokemon that literally tried to murder Pikachu in order to become Ash's #1. A Pokemon that was said to never want to settle for second best in this very episode, and yet adamantly refuses to grow into a stronger form. Now, I'm sure the most likely reason is that Bulbasaur saw what Charmander went through, where it evolved into Charmeleon and suddenly became arrogant and disobeyed its trainer and even went as far as to physically harm Ash. And now Bulbasaur thinks that if it evolves, that's what it will do too. But the solution there, mate, is just don't become a dick when you evolve. Just because you get bigger doesn't mean you have to become an arsehole, does it? Just look at me when my YouTube channel grew a bit. Wait, bad example.
Do I want to elaborate why this is a sin, or...